Hey, 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 good morning. Shine always. Having a little sip of my coffee before we get started on Pain Killerz Challenge Day 25. Day 25 already, you guys. Isn't that amazing? You've already learned 24 new things that can help you to deal with and reduce your chronic pain. Now, you might have learned them, but have you done them? Have you tried them? Have you really learned them? Or have you just listened to me spout off about them? Because they work for me and I get all excited about them. I want them to work for you as well. Or I want you to at least test them on yourself and start figuring out what does work for you. You got to figure out what works for you. So, how'd you do on that tapping exercise I showed you yesterday? I kind of meat-axed it. I noticed that when I do it, I was doing it this morning, and so I was paying attention and tuning into how I actually do it. I actually tap in 8 places. I tap here, and then I do it in the counterclockwise position, but I tap at like 12 o'clock. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do this backwards. That's pretty funny. But I tap in 8 positions, so I tap once, 2, 3, 4, 5 when I'm down by my heart or my sternum, 6, 7, 8, and then I repeat at the top. So the top is 1. And so I actually do it 8 places in my circle. And I usually tap 7 times in 8 places. That's just how I do it. Some people just tap once. And actually, I have done that. Sometimes it's really powerful to just, when I start, I tap once and hold it, and I say the whole affirmation or whatever it is I'm saying. You know, I have perfect health in all areas and aspects of my life. And I just hold that and then breathe into it and feel it before I go on to the whole circular tap. So I have perfect health in all areas and aspects of my life. I have perfect health in all areas and aspects of my life. I have perfect health in all areas and aspects of my life. I have perfect health in all areas and aspects of my life. I have perfect health in all areas and aspects of my life. I have perfect health in all areas and aspects of my life. I have perfect health in all areas and aspects of my life. Boom. And it sounds better in my head. I'll admit it. It sounds better when I'm just doing it in my head than it does out loud. So try that. Play with it. Figure out what works for you. Maybe you tap twice. Maybe you tap 4 times. Maybe you tap 11 times. I don't know what it is for you, but you do. You do, and you know if this will help you. So try it and see if it doesn't make a difference in how you're experiencing your pain. Now today's topic is a biggie because it's different for all of us, and it involves so many kind of torturous things. At least I found them torturous. I've been through, and I'm sure you have too if you've got chronic pain, so many different medical tests, procedures, surgeries. I don't know what else you would call them, but kind of want to call them shit, because some of the things that the medical profession does to us before they treat us for the pain that we're having is just, it's pretty torturous. I mean, anybody who's had upper and lower GI tests, you know, those are not pleasant for anybody. How about a colonoscopy? Women, breast exams, these are not fun things. I mean, you would think in this day and age, if men got mammograms, I guarantee that there would be a much less uncomfortable procedure for getting mammograms. But as I'm thinking about the whole topic of all the different procedures, all the different tests, all the different surgeries, and I was actually going through in my mind and thinking about the surgeries I personally have had, and I haven't had a lot of surgeries compared to many, many people that have chronic pain. I've had, you know, relatively few surgeries. I've had my tubes tied when I had my kids. I've had both of my eyes operated on. I've had kidney surgery, big time kidney surgery, heart surgery, surgery on my toe, surgery on, I can't remember what all I've had surgery on. That's really bad, isn't it? But I said I kind of blocked this stuff out because I don't want to dwell on that. Because, I mean, when I was going through it, it was terrible. Kidney surgery was terrible. That event was actually worse than childbirth. It was worse than having my kids. It was so excruciating. And then on top of that, I had an allergic reaction. So when I'm thinking about surgeries and procedures and tests, I now ask myself, before I agree to anything, is this what I need right now? Is this procedure really what I need right now and what's best for me, my health, my pain situation, whatever? But is this going to move me toward what I want? getting my life back, or is it going to cause me actually more pain? Because there's some procedures I would always go through, because with my eyes, I had to get shots in my eyes a lot. I would get steroid shots in my eye. Both my eyes have had several. I mean, I lost count after 20 something. I just quit counting because it was like, why am I even counting? I don't know why I even counted up to 20 something, because there was no point. But that was one of those things where I needed to get the shots in my eyeball or I would go blind. Well, it turns out the shots in my eyeball did cause me to go blind in my left eye. But I had to get them at the time or I would have lost my eye, because that's how bad the inflammation and the problems were inside my eye and what was going on in my eye. So you have to weigh, is what I need to do for this procedure going to help me in the end? Well, I can still see really well out of one of my eyes, so obviously I needed to do that, and that was the right choices and the right decisions for me. But each of us have to think about and consider our being and what's going on with us, and know if something is something we should do or not. Now, I know a lot of people go online and their doctors schedule them for a surgery, and they're asking in the Facebook groups, and they're asking in the forums, and they're asking on question sites, you know, my doctor thinks I should get this spinal fusion. What do you all think? Guys, nobody on the forums, I mean, they might be able to tell you their experience, but our experience is always going to be different than other people's. And if they're posting a bunch of stuff that's going to scare you, and this is the surgery that's going to really make a difference in your life, do you want that influence? I'm going to say no. No, you don't. And don't be afraid to get a second opinion. Both my dad and my brother-in-law would be dead now if they had not gotten second opinions with their cancer diagnosis. Both of them had a completely wrong cancer diagnosis, and they would have died. My brother-in-law is still living, but he would have died at 40. I think he's 59 now. And he would have died at 40. So we've had him with us 19 more years because he didn't listen to the doctor that wanted to like cold filter all his blood and do all these weird things, when he had a really rare form of cancer that he ended up going down to Mayo, and the doctor there figured out what it was. And he's like 1 in 6 people that's ever survived this cancer on the planet. 1 in 6 people. So if you're sitting there in pain and you're telling me and you're thinking, I can't get better, I'm never going to get better, I'm going to tell you, I know 2 people, I know 3 people, I know 4 people right now in my family that have survived things that other people, including their doctors and experts, and more than one expert, has told them would kill them. I am living proof right here. Guys, I should not be here. I should not be here, and I should not be nearly as functional. I shouldn't even be able to sit up in this chair and talk to you, but I'm really comfortable. And that's because I didn't allow outside experts or influencers to tell me what was really going to go on with me and in my body. And neither did my dad and my sister, actually 2 of my sisters, and my mom too. Oh my God, my mom's had this really rare blood disease. It's usually only found in Jewish women, which is why they were mystified that she has it. But they discovered it. She went down to Mayo when we were little girls. I was about 4 and 5, I think, and 6. It was about a 3-year period. But she went down to Mayo, and they did experimental drugs on her, and all of her hair fell out. So my mom was in her 20s, and she was completely bald. And so when we were growing up, she had like 43 wigs or 47 different wigs, all different styles, all different colors. And so it was really funny because as little girls, we never knew what our mom was going to look like in the morning, because she would come out of the bedroom in a different wig every day, which was kind of fun and exciting. It was like having 40 some different moms, but she is an awesome mom. But she had this really rare thing. I believe it's now called, I was going to say erythromycin, but that is totally not right. Erythromyalgia or something. That's when your feet and your hands sometimes, but mostly her feet and legs would get burning hot, like they're on fire. And I remember my dad would have us little girls, we'd go out and we'd bring in buckets of snow, and we would lay snow out, and she would actually put her legs and feet in snow when we were little girls, or in ice. And actually she had a flare of that after 50 years. She had a flare of that this last summer, about the same time I was having my flare. So you got to kind of wonder what's going on in the world and in the environment when people that have had things that have been really dormant for a long time just flare up. Something to think about, isn't it? So anyway, when you're thinking about the procedures, you can get other people's opinions and advice, but please, please, please listen to yourself and listen to your own gut. In my own household right now, my son and my sister both, one of my sisters, have had radio frequency, it's called, several times. And it's from their description, it's like they take a blowtorch and they burn off your nerves. And my son-in-law, the doctors want to try radio frequency on his neck. He was injured at work, and he's having a hard time with letting his neck recover. It's going to take about a year, they say, but it will recover. So he's got a lot of hope. Well, he doesn't right now, but we're working on him to make sure that he has hope, because he actually has a prognosis where he'll get better. It's like my one sister's leukemia. Her life was terrible and miserable and awful for 3 years. I mean, for 3 years was the protocol for her particular type of cancer and leukemia, but she no longer has any cancer in her body. It's one of the rare forms of leukemia that they actually have a cure and a protocol for that makes it so that the cancer goes away, leaves your body for sure. So even though she had a terrible, miserable 3 years, and there's some ways that she'll never be the same again, but she's still here, she's still living, she's still getting to enjoy her life. And yes, she has residual pain and she has residual neuropathy, but she's not dead, and she gets to experience life as best she can every single day. And that's all any of us can do. Even people without chronic pain, you guys, a lot of people without chronic pain, their life sucked too. They create their own sucking with the things that they tell themselves in their mind. We at least have something that really sucks that we just need to deal with. But that just proves to us how strong and how amazing we are, that we can live our lives with these things that we have to deal with, that that other people and normal people don't have to deal with. So procedures, surgeries, tests, anything that you have to do, always ask yourself, is this in my best interest? Is this really what I need to do? And the reason I started asking this was when I was in my 20s, I went through a lot of different medical centers trying to figure out what was wrong with me. I went through out in Valley, Nebraska, then here at the University of Minnesota, because I live in the Wisconsin-Minnesota border. And then I went through some specialists out in Boston, some specialists in, I was all over, but I then was referred down to Mayo Clinic in Rochester. And Rochester decided that they would not take any of the tests I had previously had. And so I had to go through all of these torturous tests over again. And when I was there, I was really, really sick. I was having, kidney malfunction problems. I was having iritis and uveitis and eye and migraine problems and all these other things. So on top of that, they made me go through all of these same procedures and tests that I had just had at the University of Minnesota within a couple of months. And I still don't know why that was, because I was young and dumb and I just went along with it. But it made me so much worse, and so much so that within 3 weeks of leaving after that barrage, I was there a couple of weeks, I ended up, they could never find anything wrong with me, yet 3 weeks later, I was laying on my office floor at work at Procter & Gamble on the cold cement floor, writhing in pain because I had such a badly infected kidney, and I had a kidney stone that ended up in like the medical journals because it was so bad, and it had just destroyed my right kidney. Now, I lost a lot of respect for that medical institution at that time, because here is something that pretty much anybody who looked at my kidney test, because my kidney function blood results and my creatinine and all those indicators were off the charts bad. But instead of looking into that and finding out what was really wrong with me, they were too busy trying to figure out what crazy thing and what crazy combination of things was causing what was going on in me. So that is why I say, do your gut check. If you have to, do your muscle testing. Is this procedure necessary for me? I'm getting a no. There's no procedure necessary for me right now. Is this arthritis killing medication from the pharmaceutical companies right for me? No, I'm getting a big fat no on that. So use that. Use the tools. Use the things that you can investigate. All of us have the ability to ask the questions and find our own answers. But especially with things like this with surgeries. Listen to yourself and your body more than you listen to anyone else, including your doctors, and do not be afraid to get a second opinion. So that is my challenge for you today. Do you have any upcoming procedures or tests scheduled? Just ask yourself, is this really necessary? Is this what my body needs and wants right now to get better, to help me live the life I deserve to live? That's it. Go out, make it an awesome day, and I will see you tomorrow with day 26 of our Pain Killerz Challenge. Bye.